let's see. It appears to be working. We're trying to. I think we're good, Michael. Thanks so much. Yeah, it looks like it's working now.
Cool. All right, I'll hang out for a
Let's
little
get
bit.
some sleep. Thanks again.
Yeah, no worries.
We've done it
I'll
without
hang
you.
out.
Oh, okay. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we're up and running now. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Let's see. I'm just kind of getting everything in order here. Looks like we got a lot of people on the Zoom call, which is exciting to see. I hope you guys can see my slides all right here. But this is really our first React Denver since our March event, which is kind of crazy to me to think that it's now been 2 months since then. But obviously, we're still dealing with COVID issues and the whole social distancing thing. So Zoom has worked out great for us, and we're super happy to have their support again for this event and have them sponsor us here. So we couldn't have done it without them. But just those intros aside, also want to thank our other sponsors, Salt and Turing. We couldn't also host the meetup page and pay for all the fees that Meetup throws at us without them. So between these three sponsors, like I said, the meetup probably wouldn't happen at all. So huge thanks to Zoom once again, because that's allowing us to be here and chatting with you all. In addition to the sponsors that we have, we also do have a great group of supporters here locally in the community and also outside the community. But we handle a lot of our expenses and donations through Open Collective, if you're familiar with them. And so we have had a number of donors through Open Collective, and we really appreciate their support additionally. So I just wanted to shout them out as always, and you can check us out on opencollective.com. I believe it's /React Denver. I'd have to double check on that URL, but it's pretty easy to find us on there. If you feel free, or if you feel like you want to make a tax deductible donation to the group, we could always use the support just in helping cover our expenses. I think we're sitting pretty good right now, so we're certainly not in major need, but you know, if you ever want to support us, that's how you can do that. Normally we do give a section for people who are hiring right now. And I would be more than happy to share anybody who wants to throw their hiring, any jobs they're hiring for in the chat. Otherwise, I would suggest that you post them on the Meetup events page. That's going to be where probably the most eyeballs are going to see the actual listing itself. I can say, let's see, real quick here. I do have Salt is hiring. I feel like this is kind of unfair right now because I'm using the platform to kind of post Salt real quick, but we are looking for candidates. So I will also post that on the events page just to kind of start the lead there. But other than that, feel free to post it on the Meetup, and we'd love to see those. If there are any announcements, I would just suggest that we also put that on the Meetup page. Normally we have a section, you know, to shout those out, but we'll just kind of let that stay there for now. Otherwise, I'm worried we may just get into a lot of shouting over the Zoom call here. But with all that said, I don't want to take away time from any of our speakers tonight. And I know we do have a couple of lightning talks, or we had a couple speakers lined up. So I don't know if they're in the chat. Hopefully they are. If not, we can just move on without them. But do we have either Eric Thompson here or Sheila? If so, please speak up. That may be iffy.
I'm here, but I don't have my slides ready for this one.
Oh, hey, Sheila.
Hey.
Well, if you're still comfortable with giving your talk, slides are certainly not a prerequisite. But if you're not comfortable with it, we can just move on with Regina's talk too.
I could still probably go, but slides are just a little rough.
That is totally fine. There's a reason why they're lightning talks. There's certainly no expectation of having really polished slides here. So if you want to take it away, feel free.
I actually need to go find the slides, so I can, if someone else wants to go now, I can go after that.
Let's see. Do we have Eric Thompson here at the moment?
I'm here as well. I'm in a even more compromising position as I'm completely unprepared. I didn't really get any feedback and didn't prepare anything. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no sweat. No sweat. Well, if you guys want to move on, we can just move on with Regina's talk. Otherwise, Sheila, if you want, or
I did find the slides.
Oh, perfect.
But I don't know if I'm set up to share in. I haven't used Zoom.
Let me make you a co-host here real quick, and that should enable you to share.
And I guess I'll plan on sharing next time.
Sounds great.
Cool. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Try it again now. I think I just set you as a co-host. Sorry about that.
No problem. Can you guys see my screen?
I cannot.
No, it's not working. I am sharing my desktop.
Oh, you might be having, Regina was having some screen sharing issues.
Really?
Do you have another window open, or is it, sometimes the windows kind of get lost if you're on a Mac.
Yeah, that could be it.
We'll open somewhere else.
Still doesn't show, I'm guessing.
Sheila, did you minimize all the windows and get to like little pop-ups saying that you need to go to some security settings?
I did see that.
Okay. You have to do that.
Nope, still isn't working. I don't want to take up too much time here. I can figure this out, present it next time. I'm not a Zoom fan.
It's really not a big deal. It's have you been able to screen share before via Zoom?
No, like I said, I don't use it too often.
Okay.
So I have it. It looks like it's sharing to me, but nope, still nothing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. It should show like a little green border around whichever display or window you're sharing. Are you seeing that?
No, I don't see a green border, so maybe that's why. But I have it enabled in security settings. So.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're not able to get it set up, it's no worries. This was kind of an experiment to get lightning talks. Oh wait.
Oh, we found.
Oh really? It just worked. Oh my god.
Just in time.
Well, my slides look weird. Okay. So this is just a quick lightning talk on what you can do with Shopify if you are not a Shopify developer. So you can actually do stuff with React and Shopify. This is also called Headless Shopify, but I'll just do a brief intro to Shopify. It's basically hosted e-commerce. You can easily, as a store owner, create a store and start selling products without much work on your end at all. It uses Liquid, which is Ruby based as a templating language. And the issue there is if you are a developer and you're not a Shopify developer, that's like opening a whole can of worms, and it's totally different in terms of ramping up. So then there's the option of headless Shopify. Shopify introduced a storefront API, which allows you to access most of the data in your store, and you can build a completely external site. You can have a custom cart on your own site, and then the only part that will be on Shopify is once the customer enters the checkout flow. Why you might want to do this? Freedom, you can choose your own platform. You could use Next.js, you could just use React, you can use, there's mobile SDKs as well. You have full control. You can pick your language, like I said. And here's a link to the storefront API. The docs aren't like 100% perfect, but they are decent, and there's instructions for getting started. And then for using JavaScript, you will want to use this Shopify Buy SDK, which simplifies the API calls. You won't need to do any direct GraphQL queries unless you are doing more custom you need more custom access to Shopify's API. Then just a couple code examples I threw in from the docs. This is how you would set up your client, assuming you're using the Buy SDK and JavaScript. You can get an API token that you would set up in your Shopify account. You can create a checkout. This is what you'll use to render products in your cart on your external site and kind of manage what's in there and the line items. Then you can, this is an example of how you would query for products. And this is all in their docs, so I'm just like speeding through this. There's a concept of line item, like I said, and you can add products there. You can remove them, and you'll keep your cart up to date that way. And then if you need to do more advanced stuff, you'll want to use the storefront API and make GraphQL queries on your own, because not all fields are supported, unfortunately, in the Buy SDK. The only downside is it's much larger. So if you're, especially if in a single page app, that means your users are downloading a lot more JavaScript. So that's kind of a bummer. So here's a link for custom, more code examples that Shopify came up with. So there's not a ton more examples on the web, so that's a good place to go. And then a few sites that are doing headless Shopify. I'm sure there's a lot more. The top one is the one that I work at. So I worked on a application using this, and that's it. Hope that was useful to someone out there that's thinking about doing more with Shopify.
Awesome. Perfect lightning talk. Thanks so much, Sheila.
Sure.
Anybody else have a quick talk they want to give on any topic? It doesn't have to be long. That was a perfect length right there. If we have no other volunteers, we'll just proceed with Regina's talk here, but just want to give an opportunity. No one else then. All right, well, I'm sure we'll do lightning talks again. So if you ever have something that you want to put together here, whether that's in person, I don't know when that's going to be, or another Zoom call like this. Yeah, I think this can work. Next time I'll have my ducks a little bit more in a row from a technical support perspective, and having people set up with screen sharing. So apologies for just throwing that on you, Sheila, but you did great. So thanks so much.
Sure.
And with that, I think we can kind of get into our main event here and have Regina take the floor. So she's here to give us a talk on TypeScript. Regina, go ahead and take it away. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, I'm Regina. I'm a software engineer. Some of you have me seen talk at different meetups. I'm not a React developer. I'm an Angular developer, full stack, but we use TypeScript. Oh, did my screen sharing go away?
No, I just disabled my screen share, so you can go ahead and take control.
Okay, all right. I don't need it right now. Okay, so let me actually go ahead and screen share before I continue. I thought I did already. All right, there you go. Everybody sees it? Yeah. Cool. So today I really want to go into more of the type system of TypeScript. And this story really happened all with my team about 2 months ago. So about 2 months ago, we were all, the team I work on was embarked on doing AngularJS migration to Angular 8. So that's a task by itself. But we've been using Angular 8 and TypeScript in other apps already before that. And I had this grandiose idea that why don't we try to make TypeScript like Java or C++ and turn it into a nominal type system instead of a structural type system? Well, think of putting a square into a circle. So keep that in mind as I tell the experience I've had. It's been a fun ride, but let's talk a little bit first about TypeScript. If you're not familiar, this is kind of an overall picture of where it fits in. You have ES5 and then ES6, you have classes and modules, and then there's TypeScript as the overall. Some of you might use TypeScript in React, and you can use it in Vue if you want to. You don't have to use JavaScript. But Angular comes by default with TypeScript. And so far I've really enjoyed TypeScript because it's a little bit closer to my first language I learned, which is C++ and Java. And I really, it's not just one variable that can be anything and can change. So it's that strongly typed system. I was used to it. And however, TypeScript really is different from Java because it uses a structural type. What does that mean? A structural type means that if the shape of the type is the same, the name of the type doesn't really matter. So here's the example. I have two types, a user and a person. They have the same shape by having the same field names and the same types. Therefore, I can really assign a user to a person. And it should be lowercase p, to a person. And so it says, well, they're the same to me. They have the same structure. Great. So when we look at the other type systems that are out there that like Java uses, which is really a nominal type system, and it really means it's named. And the difference there is that the name of the class or the name of the type matters. So I have a class user and a class person. That's how Java defines types. And they have the same shape because they have the same fields, but they have different names. And Java, if you try to assign a user to a person, you get a compile time error. So I have this idea of what can we do to create something like this, the nominal or named type in TypeScript. There are many different wannabe implementations out there. I'm showing you 3 of them. I'll tell you which one we picked and what we did with it. So if we look through this example, this is really one example where we have classes. We use classes. And in the class, we have a constructor and it uses a variable, and then it has this private nominal field, so that's unique to the class. You instantiate USDA and Euro, and great, you have a function that expects 2 of each object. And the first example, when you call the function with USDA, USD, it's fine because the types are the same. And the second example where you have gross, the last line in the first column, that's when you get an error saying they're not the same. I can because of that nominal type and the name, the class. The nice thing is you don't have to do explicit type assertion. The only time actually you see an explicit type assertion is as the return type in the function grows. That's what I mean with type assertion. It really logically doesn't make sense because, and it creates an empty class because it isn't really a class. It's just like a type that I want. It doesn't have any functions, any methods, or anything. So that's one example how you could do it to get the wannabe implementation of a nominal type system. The second one is using brands. So we have interface, and then we have this with the underscore USD brand, and it's a void, and as well as the Euro brand and the void. But in this way, if you look at the code when we define the variable USD and euro, we have to use explicit type assertion. So we have to say as USD, as euro. Again, since we defined it with this kind of unused USD brand variable, which is void, nothing, that's what it means, null. The second example also gives us a compile time error. So it wouldn't compile. So the objective of types is really to get compile time errors and get the errors taken care of it before runtime. It is the simplest way. The Angular team uses it. Since we never assign a value to USD brand, to the brand variable, there's no runtime cost. Again, the disadvantage is the type assertion. And interfaces for some of them might be overkill. There are other ways you can use types in TypeScript. The third way is really using intersecting type. And actually in this example, this type USD is very similar to an interface. But here we are specifying really, we have a class of currency that takes a generic T and it extends a string. So, and then we just have private as T. That means, back. This means that we can have a number and the currency. So when we define it, we say if the currency, the string will be USD. And for the euro, it would be euro. So we define what the string is, the T. Again, we need to do type assertion here. And again, at compile time, we get a compile time error for the second function that we have. There's some improvements that we can do with function because this explicit type assertion gets really annoying that you have to do this all the time. So you could write a function and replace the function, the declaration, with the function on the other side. That's in the approved with functions. Again, the pros is that no value is assigned and no runtime cost. We still have the explicit type assertion. Well, the story all began that we said, great, we're gonna start using the second example. And I actually want to go back. The second example of using brands. We started down the road and one of the other developers really was not too happy about this explicit type assertion because when you do explicit type assertion, there errors can occur because what you're saying when you use type assertion, it says that you as the programmer know what you're doing and you know what type it is. However, you could omit some fields that are required and just don't assign any value to it. So discussions go back and forth. We write different tests to prove our point. And I was one opinion that I wanted to really have compile time safety, and I wanted to make sure that we're not assigning the wrong things to the variables and have like a strongly typed system. Weeks go by. In the end, we scrapped it. We did not do any of it. And we agreed that what we're going to try to do is, if we really need it, we'll use the brand, but we're also going to use and assign a value to our USD brand variable. So we'll have a cost to it. But the other thing that we determined is in TypeScript, you can use enums. So if you have variables that are very specific, there are type number enums as well as enums. So you get that site safety. And if we have to use interfaces that are the same, that have the same structure, we're going to use that. But by all cost, or by all means, we're going to try to avoid having the same structural interfaces with different names. And so far, that strategy has really worked. I think at the beginning of this journey, we didn't quite assess the use cases. So I think the lesson we all have learned is that know what you're trying, know the problem, what you're trying to solve. If you have that problem where you really need that strongly nominal type system, then solve the problem. But I think when we embarked on this journey, or I embarked on this journey, I didn't quite know or understand that we didn't really have a problem. Or we didn't have a problem. So don't try to fix something that isn't really broken, and try to find solutions like enums, or pay attention to the structure of your interfaces, of your types, and avoid having the same structure. Maybe they are the same things. Find another name for that. Find a better name for that. Or use extending something, use combination of two interfaces. So it was quite a journey, and the outcome is don't fix it if it ain't broken. And this is really what the TypeScript documentation talks about or writes about, the explicit type assertion. And trust me, I know what you're doing when you use the as USD, as EUR. But the funny thing is we use a lot of this type assertion in testing because we are too lazy to make a data structure with all the fields that are required. So we're just adding the fields that we need, and we write the tests with that data structure. That is the story I have of how to turn a structural type system like TypeScript or Haskell or Elm into a nominal type system, or wannabe nominal type system like Java or C++. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Regina. If anybody has questions for her, feel free to type some into the chat, assuming you're comfortable with accepting questions, Regina.
Definitely.
While people are writing questions in there, I guess I am kind of curious with, I guess, given that your team is on TypeScript and you went away from, you veered away from using the nominal system, have you found that you've regretted that choice, or are you generally happy with it? Clearly your coworker's happier, but.
No, I've made peace with it. At the beginning I was like, it's very funny. Devs are so opinionated, including myself, right? I mean, you can do, the last 2 years I found that there's so many roads that lead to Rome. And it doesn't matter how you get there, you get there eventually, and everybody has an opinion about something. And in the end, at the end of the day, we just have to see each other and we have to agree. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm not happy. It doesn't matter. We all get over it and look at the bigger picture. Look, we need to create something. This is what we need to get done. No, I think it became, considering that some of the team members had and we had different opinions, it became a real battle of having to assign a value to this brand variable that we didn't really need, right? So it was like a waste of it was a cost. There's a cost involved, and if you have to do that for every type, and we have a lot of them, it becomes, it's not necessary to have that cost. And it became a bit of a pain to write it. I mean, every time I have to assign null to it, that's what we did. So it's like, we want that either. So, and I'm happy. We all were happy that we just forgot about it. We just got rid of it. But I think the cool thing is that we all agreed that if we really needed it, we would use it.
Yeah.
So.
Our team uses it too, and it's definitely a double-edged sword, but generally.
What do you use?
We use TypeScript with React, and yeah, it generally works great for us, but there are times certainly where you find yourself fighting with the TypeScript compiler and you're not feeling as productive as you might like because you have to get over that hurdle. But
yeah, I found using type and using intersection and union is pretty powerful. And not just using interfaces. I mean, we mostly use interfaces and type and enums. So, yeah.
Anyone else have any questions for Regina? I wasn't seeing any in YouTube. I have to check the chats here, but I'm not seeing any currently. But thanks so much, Regina. That's super informative. And for anybody who hasn't tried out TypeScript, whether that be on the back end or front end, certainly it seems like the chatter around it in the React community has grown, and for good reason. Like I said, our team has really found it valuable overall. So.
Yeah, it is really valuable to us too. I mean, we have to use it, but I think it gives you more confidence. I don't know if your team has found the same thing. Definitely.
And we don't feel like we have to test for, like simple use cases or just type assertions in where we might have had to do that in the past. So it takes away some of that testing overhead, I think. Cool.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks again. So real quick, just a few notes before I depart for the evening. And yeah, thanks again, Regina. I would clap there. But just a few other things. We are looking to get back on a regular cadence here with React Denver. Obviously, it's kind of on a month-by-month basis, given the state of the world right now. And we hope to continue to do these Zoom events. We don't really have any speakers lined up for the coming months. So if you're interested in giving a talk next month, we would love to hear from you. And that may be over Zoom. It may be in person at Turing. I'm not sure. But please do feel free to reach out to myself or Will Klein or anybody on the organizing team. We would love to help you out with topics or just talk ideas in general. So we're always looking for speakers and sponsors, certainly. And we hope to get back on, like I said, kind of a regular cadence as far as you seeing our faces and hearing some more talks about React or front end or whatever really you're finding interesting in web development. We're pretty flexible on that. So let's see. I think that pretty much covers it for me. I just want to thank everybody for joining us, and I hope you all stay healthy here in the coming months. Stay tuned as far as what's going on with React Denver, but enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks to our speakers again, and yeah, take care, everyone. Oh, Regina, you trying to say something?
Can you, Will, I don't know, Will had a question in there.
I didn't have a question. I just made a couple comments.
Okay,
in
okay.
chat.
Yeah, I know. So where do you know where they are? I mean, I'm confused. I'm confused about. Oh, I also like how I get code suggestion. I see. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. All good. Thank you.
Very informative talk, just inspiring them.
Yeah. I've been using TypeScript for 2 years, and I learned type systems in a deeper way today. So
Oh, good.
I've just been walking around trying to be productive, not actually understanding what I'm doing. So this really helped.
Actually, the TypeScript documentation is super useful on types.
I like it. It feels just a little dry sometimes. So this was, I liked how you presented it. Like it already made better sense.
Awesome.
Download it to your Kindle or something, and it'll really put you to sleep. When you're trying to get some shut eye. It is very informative, though. So,
I actually have a question real quick, really for anybody that uses TypeScript. I'm like sort of coming out of school, and we've only really done JavaScript. And I'm curious if before you're like on a team of developers, if it's easy to see those benefits that you get with like a strongly typed language, or if it's kind of hard to see unless you're working on like a team with people and stuff like that.
Regina, do you have any comments on that?
So can you? I broke up. Could you repeat your question? My audio broke up a little bit.
It was hard for me to hear too, just a little bit.
Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, like I'm basically coming out of school now, and I've only really learned JavaScript. And one of my questions is like, would it be tough to learn TypeScript without getting that? I imagine that it's kind of harder to see the benefit of a strongly typed language without working with a team, a larger team. Do you think it still would be doable to like teach myself TypeScript coming out of school, or any thoughts on that journey?
I suggest I mean, having a background in a strongly typed language as my first language is definitely a benefit. But I think you should definitely learn a strongly typed language, and you can use it through TypeScript. I think there are tutorials out there. There are, the documentation isn't bad, it's decent. So you could use their tutorials or their documentation. But I think as you embark on your journey, on your dev journey, it will help you understand different concepts. I think when you have an understanding of a type system and what it means of a strongly typed system. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you so much.
And if I could add to that, I don't think anyone would expect somebody coming out of school to know TypeScript. Knowing JavaScript as your baseline, that's the common language. And if you feel good there, that'll translate really well coming into a team that has TypeScript. I did nothing but JavaScript. I forgot anything I knew about types I learned in the past. I did nothing but JavaScript for years, and I joined a team 2 years ago. I was doing TypeScript, and it was expected that I was going to learn it on the job. And then I did. And it was, frankly, I think it would be a lot easier to learn with a team in a code base that's already been written in TypeScript than to try to figure it out yourself. You can try. I wouldn't discourage you from that. But if you try and it's hard, I wouldn't feel stressed about trying to learn it before you go onto a team. You should be given that opportunity.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a lot of what my question was regarding, is like whether it would even be worth learning without that sort of environment.
Try it, but don't sweat it if it's like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, plus one to that. Definitely don't beat yourself up over it. I think most of us learned JavaScript first and then came to it later. So it's helpful, but it also is additional overhead too. It's just something else to learn on top of already becoming a master at JavaScript or whatever it is you're learning. So
I was going to say the exact same thing. TypeScript is awesome, but no JavaScript first.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, great question.
Sure thing. Well, I'm going to hop off and go grab some dinner, but thanks again, everyone. You feel free to stay on here as long as you want and chat if you like. Michael told us it's this is called Run for the Next Month. So
Thanks. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nice to see everyone that attended. This is really good.
Yeah, we had a lot here. It's great. See you guys.
Bye. See you.
How you doing, Jeff? Hey, John. Oh, Jeff ran off. Oh.
You hanging out there, Will?
Yeah, I'm hanging out. My family's downstairs eating dinner, and I was actually hoping my newborn would wake up and I'd bring him over here. But I'm not gonna wake him up for it.
Actually, Sam said something at the beginning. So my goal this year is maybe eventually talk at a conference. You know how to game the system. I need to TM you to give me pointers on how to get into a talk.
Yeah, you just go after it. Just go after it. I think everyone out there is listening. Like everyone should try to speak at a conference once and do it once. It's challenging. It's a good challenge, and you might get addicted pretty quickly. It can be a lot of fun.
I'm getting kind of addicted to the meetups.
You're probably gonna like conferences then. It's fun trying to learn something and then present it, and then get questions and hear from people who learned something, and it's just like that's addicting.
When is your next talk? Is anybody else in here talking?
Yeah, is anybody else? Because I don't have anything. John, you should give a talk.
I should give a talk?
Yeah, I heard you're just finishing school. You should totally sign up.
What should I give a talk about? Actually, I kind of know. I have an idea of what I'd give a talk about, but
yeah,
I don't think it would be that impressive given my knowledge. But
it doesn't need to be impressive.
No, it needs to be simple. I think simple, right? Would you say so?
Mm-hmm. Simple, yeah. I usually ask when people are trying to come up with a topic, like, what are you learning right now that you don't mind talking about? Or what do you like, if I ask you to tell me about something cool, what comes to mind? Like, what's interesting to you?
Well, I could tell you right now what I think would make a decent talk. I've been so it seems like every kind of front end framework I've tried to approach, I've tried making like a typing app, like just testing words per minute. So I would just compare like how those algorithms kind of change from framework to framework for me. And
that's neat.
It might just be a cool way to compare different frameworks to each other.
You should give a talk at the React meetup next month.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that because I did my first one in React, and then I'm doing one in Vue now. It's actually going a lot smoother. I like Vue a lot, but not to be talking shit about
no, but
React.
That's interesting to me. Like I think there's really interesting things that each framework has that the others don't, and that's not to say that they're mutually exclusive. That some of those things can't get pulled over in different ways. Yeah. So I think that'd be very interesting to hear.
I think there's a good chance that if I were to go back and redo the one I did in React, I would probably get a lot better productivity and know what's going on a lot more. But since I learned Vue second, I had a lot of concepts solidified about like how state gets passed around and all that stuff that I had to learn the first time. So I don't know, I might give that a shot at some point. But
well, John, if it gives you any confidence boost, I'm gonna do a React Native talk next time, and I'm a recent graduate as well, and that's what I've been kind of doing a deep dive on. So
that's awesome. Where did you graduate from?
Hack Reactor at Galvanize.
Nice. I think our instructor used to teach at Galvanize, Kyle Coberly.
Not familiar, but
I know Kyle. Where are you? Where's Kyle and you? Where are you graduating?
Flatiron.
Flatiron. Cool.
Yeah.
I know Kyle very well.
Yeah, he's cool. He would help me with Vue so much. He's so passionate about it.
Hey, Will, do you remember 2015 when I gave the React a little talk? I'm gonna look forward to the next monthly React Native talk.
Did you do React Native? Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did. I did a very tiny one, but I'm looking forward to that to hear next month and see how much it has changed. Awesome.
That's awesome. I think like half my classmates are doing React Native for their like capstone project.
Yep, that was similar with mine. Was our it was like, oh, this is cool. Write once, run it on all the widgets.
Is everyone in Denver or Colorado? Is anyone from somewhere else right now? We're all local. Cool. I wasn't sure. I was just curious.
I've been in Florida for like the past month and just came back out here.
How was it traveling?
Hey
Honestly,
guys,
driving was well, I don't really like stop when I drive, so it was just like 30 hours of driving and that sucked. But then flying, I was surprised. They were like, because I flew back, the plane was packed. I don't think they should have like had that many people on the plane. Like it felt like I probably could have sued them, but I don't have coronavirus, I don't think, so I'll water under the bridge, I guess.
Hey, that was the same when I flew back from Seattle a week and a half ago. It was like, I was surprised to see so many people on the plane.
Yeah, there's something, they should change something, because you're in like a small cabin, neck to neck. That don't seem right to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the news art stories about that. It's scary.
hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yes, I seems like I'm having troubles with my microphone. I just have a question. Is anyone using React with MobX by chance? Okay,
Are you?
I'll take it as what's up?
Are you?
Well, I am. Yeah, I was going to do a presentation on that topic, like in upcoming months. I've already done it on one of like Northern Colorado JavaScript meetup. Just was wondering if people would be interested.
I would love to see that talk.
Oh yeah, me too.
Okay, great.
Cool. All right, guys, I'm dropping off. See you all. Thanks for listening. So see you next month.
Okay, great job. Thank you.
Bye.
See you, everyone. Thank you.